Good evening, everybody watching. Welcome back to the Creative Burrows gaming channel. My name is Isaac. Once again, the game I'm going to be playing is Factorio, but there's going to be a little change up. For one, I'm starting a brand new map here, and this map is set to a lower enemy distribution than before, with a much larger starting area. As always, I'll have the technology research queue available, and my terrain is set pretty much the same. Resources, of course, are set to near maximum, and the reason I say of course is because I know what I want to achieve here, and that is that I want to launch my second rocket in Factorio, but I want to do it to get the achievement called There Is No Spoon. And this achievement is for launching a rocket in less than 8 hours. And so with that, I have plenty of resources. I have little worry about the enemies. I just need to go ahead and start building. Now, I do have a strategy for this. And what I'm going to be doing is I've worked out the math, and I really only need about 1 science pack per second from any of the sciences I build. And this will actually research all the bare minimum of the technologies I need to make it to launching a rocket. Most of my time in this is going to be spent building. And this is the second part of my strategy, is I'm going to be using pre-prepared blueprints that I made. And so what I'm going to be doing is, in between sessions, I'm going to be going in, creating blueprints for the next section coming up. Now, for this very beginning portion of the game, I don't really need a blueprint. All I really need to do is probably collect some coal over here. And we'll get that ready to go in the miner. We'll use the handy-dandy furnace they provide as a coal catcher. And then I think I'm going to go mine some stone to make more furnaces for farther down the line. And so for the beginning portion of this game, I'm going to speed this up, starting here in a few seconds. But to reiterate, my strategy is pretty simple. I'm just going to research the minimum amount of technologies possible. That way, I only have to produce the minimum amount of research packs necessary, which I estimate to be about 1 research pack a second, or at least 1 research pack a production cycle. And I'm going to be using pre-prepared blueprints that I've made in the creative or sandbox mode. So, excuse me a second, I'll speed this up. And we'll get on to what's going to be some of my first buildings in the game in just a few minutes here.
Open your mind.
The world has been left broken.
Open your mind.
The world has been left broken.
Welcome back, folks. And what we're doing here is actually starting some building. And this is going to be pretty much like the last series, wherein I just set up this very basic boiler to steam engine arrangement. Load that up with coal as soon as I get some, which is just fine by me, because I have to run these power lines up here anyways, eventually. There we go. Pick up some more stone from the miner I set down for that purpose. And I should, indeed I do, have a lab right there ready to go. So I'll set that down. I'll pick automation as my first research, with logistics as my second. And I think electronics as my third, or maybe turrets. Let's start with turrets, just in case I need some early game defense. And then I'll go into electronics, the fast inserters, which might come in handy, and then the logistics science packs, or as I affectionately call them, the green science. But right now, I don't even have enough science packs to get automation, but I can definitely get it started as soon as I turn on the power. So let's just do this, put a half stack of coal in there, we'll use the rest for our mining. And my mining over here is still the very simple 3 iron mine and 1 copper mine. And pretty much what we're going to be spending a lot of this second doing is just going back, refueling things, picking up all the resources that I'm getting. Leveling out my coal to make the most of it since I have to make such long trips. And pretty much that's going to be the extent here for the next few minutes. So, if you'll excuse me, I'll put you on fast forward again. And we'll get to a point where I can actually start building things. Thank you.
Look around you.
And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. We just finished researching automation. And with that, what I think I'm going to do is break out my first blueprint here, which is going to be this little starter base, and I've designed it to be able to make inserters, conveyor belts, and red science and feed that directly into a lab. And I won't be able to build all of this right this second, but that's fine, because what I can do is get started on it, and the most essential thing, I think, is going to be getting the conveyor belts over here. Yes, that is what they're called. Took me a second to remember. But I'll be getting these conveyor belts established, because those are, I believe, well, in my humble opinion, going to be forming the backbone of everything I do here. So we'll just start getting this built out, and we'll just follow the blueprint so I don't have to spend a bunch of time fussing around with how I want things to go. Make ourselves a second iron box. Apparently I might have just forgotten that. Plop that in. And these should be started up with just some iron plate. Now that's not going to get us very far right now, but it will get us somewhere. And so we'll start setting in our inserters, which I think I'll just place down here. I have a slight change to how I normally do things. We'll just dump more coal into our raw resources here. And so once again, do the long trek back. Admittedly, I picked a map that had a very wide spacing for all my resources. But I don't think that is going to be a significant problem, I want to say. I hope to say, at least. Simply because the spacing just is only a couple of seconds each route. So if I was doing a absolute speed run, then I do believe I'd be quite concerned with just how fast I was going at any given moment. You know, how far do I have to run, and any space that has me running without actually producing anything is a space too far. But for this, I'm just trying to do it in under a very reasonable, I think, and very sensible 8 hours. And I say reasonable and sensible, having launched my first rocket in about 23 hours. But looking through YouTube, you can easily find speedruns of this game that clock in at just under 4 hours, and even closer to 3.5. And some of the tricks I'm using here are definitely speedrunner tricks, or over-optimization tricks. Like this coal splitting between my burner miners and my furnaces. And definitely getting this little basic production base, focusing on the basics of production before my research, is a optimization choice. There we go. Used to enforce the fact that what I need are building blocks. Because without the building blocks to get all of this started, then I'm not really going to be able to develop a factory beyond this point. And this is, I think, the same principle I used in my first video series that I did with Factorio. Yeah, I think I'm going to take that coal and actually use it for my boiler down here to keep my electricity flowing, because currently everything does depend on that, and I have no idea why I just did that. I wish I could turn my conveyor belts into even more conveyor belts, but unfortunately that's not an option for this. Oh, okay, and that boiler's full. Excellent. So we're not using enough electricity to use up anything. It should give me more conveyor belts and some very sacred green circuits. So we'll take this, we'll put it into stone production here, because I'm definitely going to need a lot of stone. And the reason for that is I should have... Oh, excellent. I do not have a blueprint for my smelting stacks. But that's fine, it's easy enough to make one real quick. Yeah, I've done these smelting stacks so often I don't really have to think about it too hard. The hardest thing to think about is putting them in ghost mode. So that I don't use any resources I need right now. And admittedly, right now we don't have logistics researched, so I won't bother with the rest of this, but I am going to use this to get some spacings started up right here. Because what I want to end up with at the end of this is 4 lanes of copper. And then I would like to have 3 lanes of iron with another 2 lanes of iron at the very end dedicated to steel. And that's going to be rather tight fit like this. But I think it'll be a tight enough fit to get us started, because what I can do is, with 2 of these lanes of iron, is just tack on 2 lanes of steel, and call it a day and call it happiness. Alternatively, I could stretch this out very far and stick my smelting columns over here, and go out into the wild yonder this way. But I think I'll start them off here and go up. And in fact, I just might take all this and move it right up here. I think that's a much better position. So we'll just deconstruct everything. Don't worry about the trees. Go over here. And we'll pick all this up. So now I have a rough idea of where I want to put my smelting stacks. And that increases the distance I have to run everything by a lot. So I think I'm going to do something I don't normally do, which is make myself a lot of burner miners to get iron into production here, and maybe one more for copper, I'm not sure, but definitely to also improve my coal production, because I'm going to need this cranking out as much as it can for much longer than I would like to normally rely upon. So we get ourselves some more coal. We have 4 more miners here, so I think I might extend this to 3 more iron and 1 more copper. Just like so. We definitely have the furnaces for it. And just like that, we get many more resources than I had just a minute ago. So we'll go on over here. I think we'll make 1 more assembly machine. And, yeah, 1 more iron box. I have plenty of inserters for what I'm planning here. We'll start getting assemblers into production. And that means I'll need my green circuits at full capacity. And then we can get this started. Put all the iron plates in there. Put all the copper plates in there. And before too long, I'll have this up and running so we can get logistics researched as well. And I don't think I need that power pole right this second. Get more stone. That way when I start producing furnaces, I can make the most of them. And I do have to admit, I'm liking how my smelting stack is looking like it's going to go. Because what it means is that I can use the... Well, I guess I'm out of coal for you. That's fine. Should have plenty here for anything I need to do. But what I can do is just run that coal straight up into the conveyor lines for copper and iron, straight up into the iron and copper line closest to each other. And this should be getting green. Well, let's take that out for now, because that produces as fast as green circuits do. Very much should have remembered that. But this allows us to create 2 more factories here. One more iron box. And let's get a few more inserters. I do not know why that existed. Oh, and I do just happen to have some more iron plates floating around. Okay, so there's a few more transport belts. We are definitely going to have to get quite a few of these going. And I think what I'm going to do is make a wood box here real quick. I don't have any iron for that inserter, so I think I'll just steal a bit from there, make a burner inserter, put the rest of my iron plates back here, make some stone furnaces on the way, and what I'm going to do is just put that box right there, take this, put a half stack of coal in there, and put the burner inserter there. And that should take coal out of the box, and you know what, maybe it won't. So instead I think I'll just use perhaps one more little trick that I don't have the option for. That's okay, I'll come back for it. What's most important is to do this as quickly as possible. And to keep everything running. There we go. Make a few more power poles, those are definitely going to be needed. Come on over here, pick up my inserters. Drop off some iron. That's going to be my output for it. How's copper doing? Yeah, we'll drop off some copper. And the iron over here, we'll drop off a bit more there. So that should be going well. Now the reason I want to do this is that I know electrical inserters will take from a box and put into a boiler all the time. Except maybe it's only an iron box they can do this for? Not a wooden one? Oh. There's probably actually too much coal in the boiler for it to consider it a necessary thing to do. So, okay, that makes me feel just maybe a touch silly, I guess. And here we go. Get some more stone furnaces into production. Have plenty of coal now. So what I'm just going to do is run right down the line. Depositing coal. We'll just take a bit out of here. That's doing well. And just kind of do something like that. Spread the wealth around, as it were. And so I think I'll go replace that electrical inserter down there with a burner inserter real quick. Save some power poles, save some electrical inserters. And we've got this currently going. The next stage would be to get my smelter stack started up and my automatic mining for coal, iron, and copper. And I think that's what we're going to do in the next series, everybody. Or at least in the next episode. So thank you very much. I hope you have a great night. This will be my Wednesday and Friday series. But it will not be the only game I'm doing this time around. So I hope you stick around. Check out that other game I'm doing. I think it's going to be quickly becoming a favorite of mine. And until next time on Friday, have a great night and a wonderful everything. Goodbye.